Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. As you can see, this is not my normal set, and that's because I am still in Vegas, but don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow or whenever I end up uploading this video, I'm not really sure, but either way, by Monday, I will be back to my normal videos. Either way, there's some huge stories to go over. Starting with Black Friday PC hardware sales, FSR 3 may work on older GPUs. The 7900 series has a massive overclocking potential. The 7900 XTX can actually challenge the 4090, huge surprise here, and it's not just the 4090's adapter that's melting. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, pre-Black Friday sales are here, and there are actually some pretty good ones, so I thought I'd go over some of my favorites. And if you're interested in any of these, I will have affiliate links down in the description below. They don't cost you anything more, and it helps the channel out. Also, if you ever hear any weird background noise, they're actually racing go-karts down below right outside our hotel, so keep that in mind. Either way, we first have an MSI MPG Z790. This bad boy is over $100 off, and you actually get, it's exactly $100 off. Then you get an extra $10 rebate card whenever you send that in, but pretty good deal on the Z590. And you can actually see that it says that it's eligible for the Newegg's Black Friday price protection. And basically what that is if come Black Friday, they lower the price even more, Newegg will refund you the difference. So pretty good deal there. You don't have to be worried about, once actual Black Friday comes, it's going to be way cheaper, so I might as well not buy it. You don't have to worry much about that. Moving on, we have from Amazon an RX 6600, which is down to just $219.99. Obviously, with the RX 7000 series having just been announced, it may seem pretty tough to get an older 6000 series, but keep in mind that AMD likely announced the 7900 series and nothing lower for a very good reason. That is that they're trying to get rid of older RX 6000 stock, similar to Nvidia with their 3000 cards. So they likely won't be releasing their next gen lower end models for a little while. Now, I could obviously be wrong, but either way, at least for now, this is definitely a pretty good deal. And next up, we have a 14 terabyte NAS drive that's $140 off, bringing it down to $389.99. Moving on, Samsung's drive, on quite a bit of their different drives, they're actually offering some pretty good deals. You can see here, 40% off. Obviously, this, is a micro SD card, not exactly relevant to PC hardware, but I just thought I'd show that Samsung is having some pretty good deals kind of across the board. You can see this portable SSD, 2 terabyte, 37% off, so not bad. This 980 SSD, 500 gigabytes, 33% off. Either way, you can obviously check those out. And once again, I will have these down in the description below. Some links to these, they are affiliate links. And next, we have the Logitech G502, which is actually one of my favorite mice. And it is a whopping $45 off, bringing it down to just $34.99. And actually, once again, just like with Samsung, Logitech has quite a bit of deals on quite a bit of their peripherals. Moving on, Asus laptops and desktops are upwards of 41% off right now, so some pretty good deals there as well if you're wanting a complete system. And next up for today, with the RX 7000 event winding down, we're starting to get more and more information on AMD's next-gen GPUs, and let's just say it is pretty interesting. First up, you can see right here that PC World spoke with Frank Azor concerning FSR 3.0, or just FSR 3. For those who don't know, I discussed it in my announcement video, and FSR 3 is looking really interesting. We'd actually seen some earlier leaks suggesting that it was going to require actual AI cores, something sort of like tensor cores, and it's looking like that may be the case, but there is some good news. In this, they actually discuss why they haven't already released it or announced it or anything like that. It says FSR 3 is not a reaction or a quick thing to DLSS 3. It is absolutely something we've been working on for a while. Why is it taking a little bit longer for it to come out? That you'd probably hope for. The key thing to remember about FSR is that Until now, it did not just work on RDNA 2 or RDNA 1, they work on other generations of AMD graphics cards. They also work on competitors' graphics cards. It is exponentially harder than if we just made it work on RDNA 3, meaning, at least according to this, it sounds like this, once again, I will say it does make it sound like FSR3 is going to be using more of the newer type of cores that use matrix multiplication. But unlike what NVIDIA did with DLSS 3, it's sounding like they are at least wanting to go back and try to include support for older generation of GPUs. And given from what we've seen with their slides, FSR 3.0 should be getting upwards of double the performance compared to FSR2. So if they can bring that to older generations of GPUs, that would be really interesting. And next up, we have more really good news on AMD's next-gen GPUs. As you know, the 7900 XTX has a gaming clock of 2.5 gigahertz. Well, it looks like we may be able to overclock it quite a bit more than that. As you can see down here in this leaked diagram, it states that the architecture is made to exceed 3 gigahertz, meaning we could see some really big overclocks. Not only that, but once again, PC World apparently discussed during their live stream that we can see it right here. The company said they designed Navi 31 to scale up to 3 gigahertz. Now, I will say that I thought this was under embargo, and that's why I actually didn't mention it before, but they may have ended up mentioning it in the Q&A session, so that's what I'm assuming. But either way, it at least sounds like, from what we're hearing, that this is going to be able to overclock really, really high. Now, with that said, Cortex actually claims something a little bit different. He says that some people asked here in the stream, he said that AIBs are saying about only a 3% overclock over the XTX with preliminary drivers. So he's obviously hearing something very different, but of course this is early drivers. Maybe with some later ones, they can really get up to that 3 gigahertz. But of course, this slide says it itself that it was made to not only get to 3 gigahertz, but to exceed it. And next up for today, it looks like AMD's RX 7900 XTX is even more powerful than we originally thought. As you can see right here with Tech Power Up, they actually share some slides, and what it does is it extrapolates data from this. We can see Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. They're saying at 4K, the 7900 XTX is up to 1.7 times faster than the 6950 XT. And they actually show per game what we're looking at. Modern Warfare 2, 1.5 times, Watch Dogs, 1.5 times. And what someone did was they actually took this data and compared it to NVIDIA's 4090. And as you can see, it gets fairly close and actually beats it in Cyberpunk 2077 at 4K. Then Metro Exodus, though, I will say that from what I've seen on this one, this 59.9 may have been a cap with what they were looking at. They were thinking that VSync was on, and that's why it's right at 60 for the 4090. So this one may not be the case, but at least for the others, it's looking like the 7900 XTX is right at the RTX 4090. And actually, if we go over here, we can see that some of these numbers are looking very accurate. 139 for Modern Warfare 2. This is directly from AMD's site. And we go back here, Modern Warfare 2, that would actually put it ahead of the RTX 4090, which is at 139. So at least from what we're seeing, this extrapolation looks fairly accurate. And not only that, but Linus Tech Tips did something similar. You can see Cyberpunk 2077, they are showing the 7900 XTX using, once again, estimated performance from those slides is very similar to the 4090. Basically, AMD's next-gen GPUs could be significantly better than what AMD initially said, and it actually could challenge the RTX 4090, or at the very least, it should be significantly faster than the 4080, yet, as we know, much cheaper. And lastly for today, we have more really bad news on NVIDIA's RTX 4090. This story comes from Tom's Hardware, and if you remember, if you've been keeping up with the channel, you know that the 16-pin power connector, the adapter for the power connector for NVIDIA's newest GPUs has been melting. So far, Igor's lab had done some testing, and at least according to what he'd seen so far, it seemed like it was just that adapter that NVIDIA provided. But now it's looking like that is not the case. And I will actually say that in a later story, he seemed to suggest that it's actually more complicated than that, and we could see issues with the native 16-pin as well. And unfortunately, it looks like that is the case. As when we go down here, we can see that according to a Facebook post, the owner used an MSI 4090 Gaming X Trio with a Meg AI 1300p power supply. Having read the user feedback with a 16-pin power adapter, they opted for that power supply because it has a native power connector. And as you can see right here, it has been melted. And in fact, this story has actually been updated with yet another story of a native adapter being melted. Basically, it's looking more like an issue with the PCI Express 5.0 connector itself, not just the adapters. And obviously that could be a massive issue given the RTX 4000 series, at least all the cards we've seen so far, looks to be based on that 16-pin power connector. Basically, if you have one of these GPUs, the most that I could say is to please do not put any kind of bins anywhere near the actual connector itself. And of course, we still haven't heard anything definitive from NVIDIA. Hopefully they will release something soon with much better suggestions, maybe some kind of new adapter. I'm really not sure, but at least so far, things are not looking good. So while that does it for today, are you pumped for AMD's next-gen RX 7000 series? If so, let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please subscribe. And as always, have a great day.